Have you guys ever thought about making your own Ninja Turtles ripoff and just have the terrible theme names?
Kung Fu Karate Frogs, whatever.
Okay, I wish I could find the images or just the names I came up with, but my idea was like, what's it called? Congo Contra Gorillas.
Oh my
And they're all
god.
named after well, let's see. There's Hindenburg. There's Titanic,
Oh my god.
Woodstock '99.
That's nice.
And their leader is Jonestown.
Oh my
So,
god.
how would they fare against Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys? And since these are another simian variety of superheroes,
My gorillas have like a blimp, and they don't know how to land the blimp, so they just crash it every time.
That's hilarious.
we should make a short animation of that.
All right.
What did we do?
Yeah, like a very hype intro, and then they just crash in like the first few seconds.
I know. No, it's like the intro goes. It's like the hypest thing. I was like, oh my god, I can't wait for this series. And it's just like, okay, dun 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 dun, and the title comes up, and it's just like, and it just blows up.
I would like it to be like the TMNT intro, but only like the first chord, and then it just cuts to them crashing into a nearby wall.
Let's go.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Cartoon Clash. Today, we're going to be going over... wait, what are we going over again? Okay, yeah. Codename Kids Next Door and Regular Show. Two shows that are also are like a really good mashup, because like one is like between like children, and the other is between like adults in their 20s.
But I still feel like a regular show and K&D are two radically different
Yeah,
shows.
yeah, they're
Like,
very different.
Yeah.
Even kids growing up with Kids Next Door, or when you like put the two of them together, if they were to have aired at the same time, they still wouldn't have the same vibe to them.
Well, let's start off with one of them, and
With Kids Next Door,
Like that was a show that had like its own universe and had like you could make like an expanded universe to all these stories, and there's just so many characters, so many rules and gadgets that they came up with for this series.
And kids were aliens. Like you're not supposed to grow up. Like they had this whole like convoluted storyline about like different things. Because you know what? Let me talk about this for a second. I generally do. I've watched a lot of Kids Next Door. I was like obsessed with that show growing up. I remember when I was like turned 13, I was so upset. Like, oh man,
this thing is like I was
so
13 when it
pissed off.
premiered, so I was like, I can't watch this show.
Yeah, but I was like so upset. I was like visibly mortified. Like, oh, I'm gonna be 13, and I was just so annoyed. But it was one of those things where the show was. It brought all these little things that kids think of, like, oh, well, I don't want to go to the dentist. Dentist fucks up your teeth. And then like the guy had Night Brace, this freaking villain who just like would make your teeth cleaner. Like kids like to eat candy and chocolate, and then their teeth are like rotten yellow pieces of crap. And then they have like,
oh, I hated that.
yeah, it was just like one of those things. It was gross out humor, but it was like, oh god, like one thing, Saber, I actually want to know what you thought of this, because this one just made me ill. Was the one with the apple pies.
The pink eye.
Oh, yeah, the pink eye.
I hated that episode.
That one made me sick. Oh my god! Like, but that there were certain things about the show that I liked. Like I like the references to other show. Like they had that whole Dragon Ball Z thing they did for a short, brief second. They had all these the way the characters, like you got to know them and the way they would act with each other. And then they had this massive tree house that Pan said that you can't actually get in real life, even though it's $1 million and I'll find it one day. So it's one of those things. It's just like, it had like so many aspects that from childhood that you just thought of and you would love to go on. Like as a kid, I would have loved to be like in that situation. Like, oh yeah, you're numbered like 0058, whatever. I don't give you just like name some random number and you can go and do this stuff and just have these incredible adventures. So
Can I chime in for a second?
Yeah, go ahead for a second.
Like to completely with you and Penn, like with it is its own thing with its own universe and lore. Completely agree. And then Jack's the way you were going about how like there was just, gosh, like there's the episode where they mimic A New Hope and they are launching an attack on the school
on the bikes.
On the bikes,
Yeah.
Which logistically it bothered me because I'm like, this is the fucking tricycles versus like motorcycles. How's it working? But that's the beauty of the show. It's supposed to be like really out there, where it's like it's kind of kids building like a wooden fortress on the moon or something. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
With their 4x4 technology, the world itself truly is its own thing. Because like like growing up as I wasn't one of those kids who grew up fast. Like I very much so like kind of held on to my imagination with like believing things like, oh, the lifeguard, they're jerks. I came when I was 15. But or like librarians, the dentist, like you said, Jax, oh no, I fear the dentist. That stuff kind of hit me, and only to realize, oh, the show was lying.
It sort of feels like the show is tailor made for kids in some aspects.
Which works for a show, work for Cartoon Network.
Yeah, even with the weapons, like that they built that out of like basic household items or
2x4s.
Yeah, like
2x4
items kids could get their hands on. It made sense within the universe, but it's still just so out there that you would want to be in that scenario as a kid.
It's how it also was kind of touching with the idea of like coming of age and how. I mean, I'm not sure how many folks listening to this have seen the entire series, but like the idea that there are some adults who aren't the enemy. There was like episode where that cowgirl who wanted to be a kid, I believe, and she refused to grow up. That's like as an adult, I kind of look back on that. And I'm like, wow, that speaks to me because like it or not, you grow older, you turn into an adult, and it's kind of got a Men in Black thing going on. Where it's like, okay, gotta wipe your memory. It's time to start. Time for you to be an adult. You can't know about this secret society that kids have. The training brawls always cracked me up.
Yeah, battle ready armor.
Battle ready armor.
You know what? I gotta say, I love the acronyms every episode that they did.
Like, I was gonna bring that up. Like every episode title is an acronym.
When they had that episode where they went to the other world, where they had the DMK,
oh yeah,
what it was, and all the acronyms were also the other way around.
Father was great.
I must eat my pizza.
There's the lunch lady. There's the two guys who are like the walrus. Number 2 had his little brother. There's that.
The Tommy.
Number 1 had a girlfriend. Is he
the one with the glasses and big? Oh yeah,
Nigel?
Nigel. Oh god, I hated her so much.
What was her name? Pan, do you remember?
Yeah, Pan. What was her name?
You're a nerd. Tell us.
Lizzie. Oh, Lizzie. That sounds like
yeah. Props to the show for really being like its own thing. Like I do appreciate that, and I know that like who's the creator? Was it Mex or
Mr. Warburton?
That's right. I know that he like was pushing to get the show back or to at least finish it, and it's kind of a shame because that's a show where like. I don't know, like it would be nice to see like tie a nice little bow on it. And in this age of reboots and at least Nickelodeon's doing that. Who's to say it won't happen?
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say it because like I didn't watch a lot of it as a teenager, I guess, because like that's when it premiered.
You were the villains. You're one of the enemies.
Yeah, I'm one of the enemies. Yeah. I didn't watch it a lot, but I watched it some yesterday before we were doing these recordings. And like I need to go back and like watch the entire show because the episodes that I watched were like really good. I love the episode Archive where like they're talking about the origin of like how it only used to be just kids, but then kids invented adults. That was like a great episode. So I do need to go back and watch a lot more because I do.
They really put a lot of passion and creativity into it. Like you can tell that they worked hard and they love what they were making.
All right, so regular show.
I adore regular show.
Same.
I absolutely adore it.
Same.
I love the characters so fucking much. Like
your mom.
Yeah. But I do. I love them all so much. It's cool because like this show showed up when I was getting out of college, when I was kind of in that weird drift post college where I wasn't sure what I was doing with my life, which really tunes up with regular show and its characters where Mordecai and Rigby like just
they start out as like 23-year-olds.
Yeah, I love it. And how often you see that like on Cartoon Network?
I'm so surprised that they actually managed to get the show on Cartoon Network, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems like a more Adult Swim show, like that new one.
Well, especially with the one of the shorts that JJ Quintel made with the 2 a.m. and the
you can tell that that's very much what a regular show was supposed to be in the first place. Like the comedy and all the characters in their most basic form. They're all there.
There's guns in the show. I love it.
Yeah, freaking real guns.
Like 1980, like car chases. I love it. Like there's an episode where the FBI show up and they blow up a bunch of animatronics, like with like bazookas.
Oh yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's one. That was great.
That was like bordering on getting the M rating. Like they blew up off the entire head. That was like, would have
Well,
disturbed me when I
they
was
come
a
back.
kid.
The thing about the show that I adore the most are the characters. I do love like how you see them grow throughout the series. Like Rigby is an intolerable buffoon, but after Eileen and him start dating, you start to see him grow up. And there are moments where he's the one who's speaking about, who's being wise, and Mordecai is the one who's screwing up.
Right.
You will see Benson and his struggle of like, wow, he had dreams and now he had to settle being a park manager, and you can tell he fucking hates it, but he still has a good work ethic and tries to push himself through.
To work.
I love that. That doesn't get old to me. Yeah, and I'll be like, get back to work. I know that High Five doesn't get much screen time, but for what he does, it works.
Like, well, when you get a girlfriend or something, that was
Yeah,
he did get
he's a ladies' man. I think episode where it
Yeah,
shows
I
when
know,
he and Muscle Man are in high school and how, like, hi, I'm High Five and I want to be your friend. Get away from me.
I adore their voices. Like all the voice actors in the show do such a great job.
You also tell like this. I know this is kind of like very particular, but for folks like this who grew up, folks who don't make much money because of what they do with the part job, like food is very special. It's a good way to break the monotony. I also appreciate that the show like doesn't. You're kind of confused of what time it like what era are we?
Yeah,
in?
because
Is
like
it
there's like the
80s,
format
90s?
wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it boils down to where it is modern times that these people just like their old school formats.
Right.
And that's cool. That's again a shout out to that's a throwback for the folks who make the show and what they grew up with Laserdisc and VHS
And a Sega Master System.
because the lineup of characters got Mordecai, Rigby, Benson, High Fives. Muscle Man's one of my favorites. I adore Muscle Man. I adore Starla. I love the relationship. I like seeing how there's one episode where they're trying to get money for their wedding. Everybody's just kind of on this. They went to a game show to try to win the money. They kind of come to terms that, listen, we're not a pretty couple, but I love you. I think that was great. Because Starla and Muscle Man truly love each other and are good for each other. With their big fucking nasty makeout session.
Yeah, they're nasty makeout. But you know what? I gotta go with. I agree with Saber Spark because I've seen like a good chunk of regular shit. And I haven't seen most of it, but I've seen like a good chunk of it. And I do like how they bring up very real topics. Like usually in shows, like there's Margaret and there's Mordecai. Like they're gonna get together. They're gonna end up together. They're gonna be like permanent couple. But it's like no, they broke up.
I think that's the biggest thing to me are the relationships in the show. Not necessarily like significant other, but just like friendships, growing up, getting older. You see, like you said, Margaret and Mordecai, spoilers, don't end up together. There's even an episode where they're almost pressured into it again, only for them to realize we don't have to do this. We don't have to be together. We can just be friends, and that's it. I think that's really a really important message. Because you follow Mordecai, okay, he's the one you have to watch for his relationship. What happens to him? No, it was actually Rigby that carried on that with Eileen and how Eileen made him a better person. I think is my favorite part of the show. And seeing how Rigby actually grew into a better person. He cleaned up, he worked harder, he was more responsible. Why? Because he loved Eileen and he wanted to be good enough for her. I think that's really beautiful.
Speaking of ending, by the way, not to get ahead of ourselves here, but like spoilers again, the ending I feel like is one of the best Cartoon Network has ever had.
Oh yeah.
Like the whole episode, even the last season, I feel like regular show again never really dipped. And while there were some weird parts in the finale,
it's because I know people have mixed feelings about the final season. I like it. I think people thought it was a little bit too ridiculous, but I actually enjoyed it. I'm like, of course it's ridiculous. It's a regular show. It's supposed to be ridiculous. And how like the show ended. And also like I'm trying to not get too spoilery, but how post returning to their home world to Earth and seeing how their lives went on after the park. And them all coming back together for a reunion. Like that's great. Like this is a coming of age show, and I adore it. I love it. One of my favorite shows on Cartoon Network, and I will go and plant my flag right here. I vote for regular show.
The thing about a regular show, like, it is repetitive. Like, Kids Next Door has such a more developed world and it had a reason to keep going. But regular show kind of just like got repetitive. But like what it did already, like I agree with Saber how it just like came out at the right time where it was me barely out of college, and I guess seeing 2 in the AM/PM made me realize, whoa, You don't have to. You can just make a cartoon like that with just like some sketchy doodles, and I can work at Cartoon Network. Like that really influenced me. So
Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
lot more like personal to us in our age, except for you, Cosmo. So
Who's your baby?
Shut up. We don't have Nick on here today.
How old's Nick?
Interesting. He's 9. He's 9. He doesn't
A
want you to
9-year-old.
know.
Anyway, but yeah, it's like very personal to like people that like just got out of college or might be still in it, and like working like some part-time job or whatever.
How plans don't go accordingly sometimes, and you
Yeah.
have to like make ends meet doing something that you don't really care for. Because Mordecai wanted to be an artist, didn't work out initially, and he had to do the park stuff because it's just all of that was available.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm voting regular show. It's one of the shows that like helped Cartoon Network get out of its funk after the See and Real stuff. So
Yep.
yeah, regular show is great. I'm voting for that.
Well, regular show is like what Pan said. Like a lot of it is, from what I've seen, like there are certain episodes where it's it's repetitive, it does this and stuff like that. And Kids Next Door had one of those things where it was oh yeah, this is out there, this is incredible for the what they're doing, what they're playing with, and all that stuff. And they just had so many great episodes and stuff that I can appeal to. But I do appreciate regular show for what it did, and like the thing of like, okay, look, there has to come a time for you to grow up. You have to grow up. It's like part of life. You have to do it. And there's like a lot of lessons in it. And from what I did see, there's a lot of lessons I can go, that does actually relate to what's going on with me right now. So yeah, I'll give it to that.
Yeah, no, it's not even close for me. Regular show. While it does go overboard, it feels like what you imagine your life being like if you were to grow up with maybe Kids Next Door, or if you were in that world they inhabit. And
Right.
I feel like they mix that super well in regular show. So yeah, I gotta give him full props of that, and
Right.
it's definitely up there with some of my favorite Cartoon Network shows.
All right, it's unanimous. Regular show beats
Boom,
down
boom,
the
boom.
kids. Just
Gotta grow up
Mordecai and Rigby
sometime.
just beating up numbers 1 through 5.
Candy, we love you. Okay, well I do at least, but
All right. So
sometimes a regular show beats those Kids Next Door.
yeah, regular show moves on to the next round. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.